Oh, hey boys and girls. I was so interested in reading Seahorses again because I've already read it once. I had to come back to the book. I didn't know that you'd already started the video. I am so excited to start our informational text unit in Reader's Workshop and in Writer's Workshop. And I have an awesome stack of books here that I can't wait to share with you and to read myself. I just love learning about new things. But boys and girls, I want you to know something that I always do as an informational reader, and it's very important that you do the same. I develop a plan for how I'm going to read my informational book or my magazine article or my newspaper article or a one-page text that's about something nonfiction. Whatever it is, if it's information, I want to have a plan for reading it because informational text is so very different than literature. Your fiction books, of course you read them from start to finish because they tell a story, but not all information books are created equal. They're not all set up the same. If you remember when we read Pink is for Blobfish last week, we noticed right away that there was no table of contents and that every page was set up in an identical way. But each page was about a new pink animal. And so we realized that it didn't matter really where we read in the book. We didn't need to read in a certain order because each page was kind of like its own informational text all by itself. And this is just a collection of information into a book about pink animals. So boys and girls, you need to have a plan for how you're going to read your books. And I want to model for you today a couple of different things to think about as you browse your table of contents and you look through your books to see how your book is set up. So first you read the table of contents and think about the order that the author chose to put things in. Now, just because they're in that order doesn't mean you absolutely have to read things in that order. That's just an order that the author thought made the most sense. So you want to really think about the title of each chapter and maybe even flip through the book and do like a book walk or a picture of how the book is set up. And then you want to use that to develop a plan for how you're going to read that book. There are browsing books and there are front to back books that you absolutely need to read in order or they're just not going to make any sense. So this is a book called Tornadoes that I got from my local Huntington Beach library. I love reading about natural disasters and extreme types of weather. So I actually got a couple of books about this, about these topics from my library. How I would do my thinking to decide on a plan for this book. So I noticed that there's a table of contents. I'll give you a second to just kind of look at that. And I noticed that the very first chapter is about tornadoes. Probably going to learn what a tornado is, maybe even see some diagrams of a tornado, the science behind it. The second chapter is what causes them, why they happen, followed by the power of a tornado, some famous tornadoes, and surviving a tornado. I'm already thinking this is probably a book I want to read in order because if I don't even know what a tornado is, how am I going to understand any of these other chapters? They probably all build on chapter 1, but let me just take a look anyways. Oh yes, right away I'm noticing that this book is set up in chapters that have paragraphs. Unlike some of my other books that I have that kind of have text and information all over, like the Pink Blobfish, and I could crack open to any page. If I open to any page, I may not necessarily just be able to read what's on that page and understand it. So if I just opened my book to this page, I'm not going to really understand anything, because I'm not starting at the beginning of that chapter, and I'm also not having read the chapters in front of it. So my plan for this book is I'm going to read this book front to back. Let me pick another book out of my stack here. Let's see. How about Coral Reefs? Okay, colorful, captivating coral reefs. So in this book, first of all, I noticed that there are very beautiful illustrations in this book. There's my title page. Let me pull that on this side for you. Oh, there's no table of contents in this book. It starts right away with information in the form of a paragraph. Kind of thinking if I just flip this open to any page and start reading, I may miss something important on the page that's right before. So I'm thinking that I want to read this in order from front to back also. Kind of like maybe this is going to tell me the story of coral reefs and what they're all about. This is probably an introduction telling me what a coral reef is. I noticed that there's no headings. There's no subheadings. There's just paragraphs. So yeah, my plan for this is I'm definitely going to read this book in order from front to back. Let's take a look at another book. The Life and the Times of a Honeybee. I just ordered this on Amazon. This will be in our class library at some point. Interesting. The Life and Times of a Honeybee. There's my table of contents. The honey of a bee, home sweet home, from egg to bee, the worker bee, the busy days of a house bee, the busy days of a field bee, how honeybees make honey. Kind of thinking that these chapters maybe don't necessarily build on each other too much, and that I could open any page and be able to read it. Oh, I noticed this book is set up in a series of 2-page spreads. So here's a 2-page spread with its own heading. Here's a 2-page spread with its own heading. And the book is like that all the way through. Each section or quote-unquote chapter has a 2-page spread that I could look at. So if I wanted to, I could probably turn to the table of contents, pick a 2-page spread title that interests me most, like Shall We Dance on page 18, turn to that and read about it. If I notice that I'm having trouble, I can revise my plan and maybe start at the beginning and work my way towards the end. So now it's your turn to take out one of your informational books in your book bag. I sure hope you have several. Pick one. Start with one, take it out and browse it. Look at the table of contents. Browse through the book. Get a sense of the layout, how it's set up. And then I want you to think about, how am I meant to read this book and what is my plan going to be? And then I want you to turn and talk. All right. After you do that, you're going to have time to go and explore your informational books in your independent reading time.